to Kylie Eustace. I just want to make, she indeed did my makeup today and yesterday, and it is such a delight. So much to there, Kylie. Kylie's here today to talk to us about natural beauty and how you can do simple everyday makeup looks that are easy to recreate at home. So without further ado, Kylie Eustace.
Thank you. This is my lovely model here, Sky. We're a mother and daughter team, and today I'm going to show you some tips on just really quick natural makeup that you can do to make you feel fresh and lovely, especially if you're a little bit tired and you want to feel like you're not really wearing a lot of makeup, but you want to just look lovely. So natural beauty, it's like, what is natural beauty? It's something different to different people. Like, some people, natural beauty would be looking like they're actually not wearing any makeup, but they just look flawless and lovely. Natural beauty to others is using natural beauty products that are healthy for their skin, brands that are good for the environment, but you know, they don't like natural beauty. They want to look like the 80s and have self-expression, and that's fine too. So with all the chemicals in the world, there's just thousands of them, and our skin is our largest organ and we absorb so much through our skin. So I like to choose natural products where possible, and all the products I use for personal care, and especially obviously my makeup range, is all natural and got certified organic waxes and oils and natural pigments and things like that. And today and yesterday we've been doing mini makeovers just over at the makeup bar for $10, and all the money goes to Mummy's Wish, which is a charity for mothers with cancer. So it's a great cause, and we're still there this afternoon, and there's still some girls over there, so if anyone would like their makeup touched up or wants to come over and have a play, you're more than welcome.
Kylie, yeah. I'm going to ask the question. Now, you've actually created your own line of cosmetics too, haven't you? Can you tell us about that and how you got to that point?
Well, I was actually sensitive to everything myself, and I came across clients that were sensitive and were having issues as well, and what I used in my professional work I couldn't use on myself, and it was creating problems in my work. So I just started experimenting, and it was actually a bit of a hobby and an addiction that went out of hand, and I thought, oh, this is just crazy, I need to actually make a business out of this to sustain it, and it slowly grew.
But it's natural, isn't it?
Yep,
yeah,
natural.
So, and you had it all, I don't know what the right word is, engineered, let's
yeah, so
what the right word is.
So there's been it's like a team effort. Like, I've started with some mineral ingredients, mucked around in the kitchen, worked with cosmetic chemists to fine-tune the formula, and also the product is a professional product, so it is used for TV, film, underwater makeup, weddings, whatever you would use a regular makeup range for. So that was important. I could use it in my work, and obviously no animal testing, husband testing, daughter testing.
It's been scientifically approved, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, and we're exporting now to Switzerland and Germany, so we're starting to branch out. It was just artists only, and now we're retailing it. So yeah, it's a great product. It's been winning awards in the natural beauty world, so that's great too. Yeah, so for Sky's skin today, you can see one side, she doesn't really look like she's wearing a lot of makeup, but she looks. But on one side of Sky's face, she's half done up. On one side, there's nothing on there. She looks a little bit tired. So for skin preparation, it's good to use, obviously, lovely skincare. So I just spritzed Sky's face with some edible beauty spritzer, and used Radiance tonic, because she's having a few breakouts at the moment, but I already have put this on her face. So if you're doing your natural makeup, you could just do that and then do a foundation primer if you wanted to in place of a moisturizer. So on yourself, you could actually apply your concealer with your finger, but for hygiene, I like to just use a brush when I'm doing a client. If you're using a loose powder foundation, you can do your concealer first. If you're using a cream foundation, you can actually do your concealer after your cream. There's no right and wrong order, but obviously doing something a bit creamy under a powder is going to blend easier. So I'm just only putting the concealer where Sky's quite dark. So I'm actually using a small flat brush to apply, and then I'm using a fluffy brush and I'm actually blending the edges. So you shouldn't see where the concealer starts or finishes, and if you put too much concealer on and you think, oh my gosh, that looks a bit chunky, you can put a bit more on. You just need to keep patting and stippling the product in. You actually don't need a lot. So blending's everything with makeup. I don't like using sponges because they're not good for the environment, but they also can hold bacteria, and a lot of people just keep their sponges and they just rinse it out, and who knows what's growing in there. So I find the brush a lot easier. So mineral foundations are so versatile. A lot of people are scared, and different age groups, they go, oh my gosh, I don't want to wear a powder on my face, will that make me feel dry? It's not actually a powder, it's a pure pigment. So, that's Angel. Sky's actually in between colours at the moment. Most people are a different shade, summer to winter. So she's actually Angel. For hygiene, I'm just using some spare lids. At home, if you don't have a breakout, you can just work straight out of your pot. Pure pigments and minerals won't hold bacteria. I'm also using synthetic brushes. So synthetic brushes, if you have product on your brush and you shake it, it shouldn't be falling all over the floor. So if you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm messy, I'm going to be messy with the powder, obviously if you drop the whole thing, it's going to go everywhere. A fluffy brush like that, it's too soft. To apply a foundation with that, you will have product everywhere. That is good for just a light dust of setting powder. The denser the brush, the more coverage you can achieve. So let's pretend we've popped that in our pot. There's a fair bit of product on there. A lot of people think you get your product and you just start rolling and tapping, and you see these people going like this and there's stuff everywhere. It really shouldn't be everywhere. So if you've got too much in, you can sort of tap it back off into your lid. But I actually roll my brush, pat, 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 and then I blend it. And I just do a little bit. So that's a lot on the brush. If you put too much on your brush, you can pat it in different areas of the face and blend it. So when you first apply the mineral foundations, it might appear a little bit, you might think, oh, that looks a bit powdery, but what it will do, it will actually melt into the skin and become part of the skin. You can actually mix the product with oil as well, or a moisturiser, and apply it as a liquid if you like. Or if you sort of work in air conditioning or in heating and you think, oh, I really feel dehydrated today, you could apply your powder dry and then actually stipple and press oil on your hands all over your face if you wanted to. And so you can put moisturiser and oil over it as well. So that's all she needs. She's got a little breakout here on her neck. Instead of doing concealer there. Also, Sky's hair is done today by Kramer Hair. It looks amazing, these curls. And the girls are doing hair for charity as well. Yeah, so I'm just pressing that on there. So you could just press it on, leave it on, and then later on you could just get a little bit more product. So with your shade that you think, oh gosh, my summer shade, it's too dark for me now, what will I do with that? You can actually use your shade that's a shade darker or half a shade darker just to shade your face a little bit, so it wouldn't be your contour. You could do a little dust under your chin, and I'm using a softer brush now. And so people get confused about contouring and shading, and they put these big stripes on their face. So if you wanted to give the illusion of a facelift and definition to the face, a little dust along the jaw, that'll actually lift a saggy chin or a jowl. If you've got a double chin, you can do a little dust under here. You can do a little dust just the edge of your cheekbone. Just turn your head around. So it's basically through here, and I'm stopping here. Sky has a little face, so I don't want to come down too far and actually make her face look too thin. If you see from your nose to your temple, a little dust up through here will make your eyes look lifted as well. So that's that. That's just what you can do with your extra product. But you could work with just like a blush palette and do your whole face with pretty much with just that and the brow colour. So on the other side of the face, I've just used the bronzer, and I've used the same brush, just a little dust. Little dust. Dust, I just want to turn around. So a little dust. A little dust. And you can see the difference. This guy's eyebrows. This particular eyebrow's filled in, and this one is real patchy and it doesn't look finished. So eyebrows is really important. If you're in a rush in the morning, you think, I just can't be bothered doing my makeup, I never do my makeup. Eyebrows and like a little bit of colour on your face will make such a difference. And people don't wear blush, they're scared of blush. I don't know why, because blush makes you look healthy, it makes you look younger, it makes you look fresh, especially if you're tired. If you've had a late night, a little bit of blush. And I find if you want to look vibrant and alive, from the corner of your nose, I tend to think, okay, you don't want your eyes look like bluer, because on a colour wheel, blue and orange are opposite each other. If I was to use the pink shadow on her eyes will actually look greener, because green and red are opposite. But even just that hint of peach can just like lift the eye, make the eye look brighter. And the base of the eye, like your highlighting colours, like to go lighter on that inner corner, opens up so that when you get dark, you can use like the lighter colour through that inner corner, and that'll brighten you up. And you can also, like, this guy's got lovely cheekbones. Highlighting shades look nice sort of up on that cheekbone as well. And at home, you can just use your warmth of your fingers to blend that in. So we'll do that brow. So with Sky's eyebrow, like natural brows, they're my favourite. I'm not an Instagram brow, like really defined brow. I think that I like softer brows, and especially like in the fashion industry, softer brows never go out of fashion. So this is the highest point of Sky's brow. I start here and then I'll draw like a bit of a guide. And it's nicer if the brows are like softer on the inside, and then you just show everybody this. See how you can't really see a lot of hair? A lot of people do lose hair on the corner of that brow, and it's nice to define that. On the other side, it sort of comes down to a little point, and I've just drawn that in. So with a brow brush, the best brushes to use are angle brushes, and there's all different size ones. So, and it's really personal choice of what size, like any of those type of brushes you could use, the little angles. So if I was going to use the bigger one, it's funny, normally when I do makeup, I'm like right in front of my person and I stand back and check, but I'm standing at the side so you can see, so hopefully it will look even. But yeah, so that top of that point, and I just follow it through. I don't curl it down, don't want to. I'll do this so like you can see what the line is. Normally I wouldn't do it quite this pronounced, but just so you can see. And then I can dust it down. Have a look at that. See that line there? That's where our guide is. It's almost like a little rough copy. And pop that down. So whatever's sort of left on your brush, you can actually just blend that just where you've got a few gaps. And I'm starting more towards the top because Sky has sort of quite soft, furry brow. You can brush your brow first if you like, which is a good idea with just a little brush, but I want to be able to see those little hairs underneath. I don't want them to completely filled in. So I'll just follow that area through with not much at all left on that brush. And if I need more product, I can come back to the area where I originally put the product and try and pick a little bit of more product up from there. No one's face is symmetrical, so it doesn't really, I mean, it's good to try to get things as symmetrical as possible, but if things aren't absolutely perfect when you do your makeup, you don't have to worry about it. Like if you can get the hang of doing your brows, doing that quick little dust over, a bit of colour, like it will look amazing for every day. Sky's got 2 extra just stray hairs here. If like I was actually, if I was Sky, I'd pluck those random ones, but it doesn't matter. Because sometimes a random one might make it look like you've got a bit of a blob just in a weird spot. But that's okay. You might not want to pluck your brows at all, and you don't have to. And so whatever you used on your eyebrow is perfect to define the lash line. I'll get you to open your eye for a minute, Sky. So with Sky's lash line, you can see on this line, like her eyelashes don't really stand out. On the opposite side, it's actually just wet shadow, and it's just the same tone as the brow shades. So I just use the taupey type shades. And you can use water or like a hydration spray. If you use a hydration spray or a toner that has a little bit of vegetable glycerine in it, it will actually help set the product, which is great. A lot of people are frightened of the idea of using a wet liner. You can do it dry, but I love to do it wet. I find to do it wet, it's really easy. And a lot of people say, oh, I can't use eyeliner, pencils are hard, it looks a bit chunky, it never looks even. If you find it hard with pencils, believe it or not, this is actually easier. I can't believe how many ladies I've switched over to doing, so you can just do it wet. Just wet your shadow. So versatile. And same with if that was a loose shadow, same thing. We've got the products in like loose or pressed for certain colours. It makes things easy. So along the top of the eye with the lash line, just get you to close up. If you just sort of even concentrate on the outer area, I mean, you can run it across if you like, but actually put your brush and feel it on your lashes. And if it was a pencil, you'd do the same thing with a pencil. But this will just gives a bit of definition to that lash line. Let's get you to go that way. So see where there's no, here it looks a bit bald? You can just use your, but I will put a tiny bit of foundation just here. So the powder foundations can go absolutely anywhere you want them. They can go under your eyes, on your eyelids, and it's also good to powder your eyelids before shadow too. For a special occasion, you would use like an eyeshadow primer, but for every day, for something as soft as this, it's not necessary. A lot of ladies don't know how to do their own makeup, and I also do group workshops, so you can actually get a group of friends, and I come to you, or you can come to my salon, and we actually go through step by step, and when you do your own face, that's really beneficial. But, so with a liner, we can smudge that a little bit when it dries, and I just did that outside area so it brings definition to that lash line. So she doesn't really look like she's wearing makeup, she's just going to look a bit more open, her eyes will look more alive. So basically, so for hygiene purposes, obviously I'm using disposable mascara wands. So there's one thing you should never ever share with your daughter or your friends, because you know, and your mascara as well, you should get rid of it every 3 to 6 months. It doesn't matter if it's a natural brand or a chemical brand. And talk about natural products, shelf life, like your loose pure pigments, if it's a pure loose pigment, if you don't put anything yucky in your jar, it should actually last forever. Anything creamy, you're looking at between 18 months to 3 years if it's a wax base. If it's like a water base or aloe base, 12 months. I'll get you to close your eyes. I was going to get Sky to close her eyes because I find it easier to put mascara on other people with their eyes closed. So when you do your own mascara, try and get in as close to the base of the lash line as possible, and just jiggle and keep rolling the mascara wand. And you can also roll the mascara wand down on your lashes as well to create more on this side. sort of look is a great look to do through the day, and if you were going out to dinner that night, you could just jazz it up to an evening makeup. If we had time, I would love to show you that as well. If you like a bit of extra sparkle and you think, oh, I like the highlighter, but I want to be a bit more sparkly, you can actually use like a loose product that is quite shimmery or sparkly, something like that. And it's like quite glittery, just even for a natural look, and just put something like that, and any age group can do it, on the inner corners. And it'll just add that little bit of light, and for you with your dark, if you feel dark, it'll really make you feel brighter. And a lot of ladies are taught to put the light colour all the way up here. If you've got heavy eyelids or protruding brow bone and you put all the light colour up here, it's going to bring that forward and make it look bigger. And it can make it look puffier, but you can still highlight just under the brow bone. And I'll use the sparkly one so you can see, but you're better off with the tiniest brush like this and only do the outer area, and like, it's so thin, like maybe 4 mil, no wider. So not all the way down, because you don't want all this big glitter. That's what we do. I mean, maybe if you like 80s. I love 80s. I wish punk would come back in fashion. And the same thing, just always blend the edges of those lines. And on yourself at home, if you want a bit more sparkle, you could do a dot up on your cheekbones and just blend it in. So we'll do a bit of, just add a bit of lip gloss, and then she's right to go. I'm going to mix a few different things together and show you what you can mix together as well. And if anybody has any questions or concerns about makeup, let me know. And actually yesterday we had ladies asking about, oh, you know, they were a bit scared of using a powder. I was explaining to them that with a pigment foundation, it's like a cake, every brand's different. So some, if they contain magnesium stearate, which is a mineral, it's great in a matte eyeshadow. If that is in your foundation, it could be a little bit drying on your skin. Bismuth oxychloride can make your face, and that's in a lot of mineral makeups. And just because it's natural doesn't mean everything's good. Like some natural things don't suit certain people, and people are sensitive. But that's quite shiny. It gives that face that, like, it just looks really wet, and it actually makes my pores look really big. So I don't have that ingredient either. Yeah. There we go. So if you like a liquid highlighter or something like that, and you think, oh, you know, I want a highlighter, what can I do? I've got this powder, but I want a liquid, or especially like if you've got granddaughters and, you know, they want 100 things in their makeup kits or something, you could just use loose shadow, and you can actually mix that with your foundation primer or even an oil. And I'm just going to get my fingers in now because it's easy. But basically a cream foundation or a liquid foundation is like, it's either like moisturising solution mixed with pigments. So if your product's a straight pigment, if you did have a powder and you thought, oh, I really want a liquid up for something or other, you could, that's just with the oil. So obviously if you use an oil, you'll have more of a dewy look. If you use a water-based product, it'll be more of a matte look. So everything can be mixed. Yeah, or if you're too lazy, you don't want to mix, you can just buy your creams. The other box, yeah. So really, and if anybody wants to have a play with different textures and things, definitely come over and we can show you some different textures. Yeah, so thank you for coming along. And does anyone have any questions? So colour correctors, like say if you've got something really red, like traditionally green counteracts red out, and we actually have all the different colour correctors. I personally don't use them because I find if you can do that with a slightly lighter colour, I find the coverage so good that, like, I worry that if I do a green corrector, just say I do someone for a wedding or something and their makeup, I don't know, they wipe their face, like obviously wiping, they might wipe it off and a green reflects through that, they might look a bit sickly. So I personally don't use green, but you can't change skin texture. So that's probably what you're seeing.
Wonderful information there, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.